Alright, let's see what I can get out of you, if anything.
I passed your test. Fate has a twisted sense of humor, it seems. I suppose you think I'm some sort of monster. More so since I survived your ritual. You keep striking at me, and I just refuse to die decently. Oh? What was all that nonsense with the Darkspawn blood and mages then? A puppet show? It seems to me that magic has already failed. I'd recommend a sharp knife in the kidneys next time. Less impressive, but it gets the job done. I suppose it does lack the element of surprise. Well, what shall we do to settle things between us then? Yes, well, you can thank me for that later. I don't know what concession you want from me, Warden. I expect my word will not satisfy you. Indeed, I'd almost forgotten that. Thank you for the reminder. I think it's time we got to the point here. What do you want from me? I can't imagine that you spared my life in the Landsmeet by accident. You have some plan in mind.
So many options, and I don't know how he responds to any of them, because I've never had him available before.
That's the harsher punishment, certainly, and I can hardly argue that it's more than I deserve. I suppose I ought to be grateful. I have at least some chance now of putting right some of the things I have done. Despite what we each
Recognition
wanted,
of
we're
guilt.
both here now facing the same enemy, and we can be of use to one another, however little we may enjoy that fact.
There is that.
I never doubted that. We should speak no more of this at present. Time's wasting.
I don't know the best route for any of these either. I'm going to have to keep that save on the side and go through all of them just to find out.
Did you want something? Hate doesn't describe it. I've seen painted, masked lords beat an old farmer to death with riding crops. To this day, I don't know why. Is that hate? I saw good, sensible men fight armored chevaliers with nothing. No weapons, no armies, not even hope of success to see the occupation end. Is that hate? Nothing about war is right.
There is that.
Force of nature, like rain, or wind, or faith. It simply exists, and we deal with its consequences. My reasons weren't wrong. I wanted to defend my home. I made tactical errors, however. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Of course. Did you want something? I suppose that depends on how much of the kingdom was left by then. Once the border was secure, the army would have regrouped to push back the Darkspawn in the south. There was never any question in my mind that Honora would remain on the throne. After all, who else was there? Marek had no brothers or sisters. Most of the Therans were publicly hung by Megran when he took power. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Of course.
One question at a time.
Did you want something? Honora always did have a flair for the dramatic. She could have been a bard. It's a foolish question. I'm sure you think me capable of every sort of evil, but Honora is my only child. Well, I'm sure having you come to her rescue gave Honora no small amount of pleasure. But enough about Honora. We ought to get moving. Of course. Did you want something? So far as anyone could tell, she was the undisputed monarch of the whole world. She'd fall, skin her knees, and command them to stop stinging. It may have worked, too. I suppose she was. It's the peculiar joy of parents to be terrorized by their children, however. If you're expecting some particular insight into my daughter's character, I'm afraid I'm probably not the best source. I'm hardly impartial. You think so? I'm not certain of that myself. But this is not really the time or place to discuss my daughter. We have work to do. Of course. Did you want something? He was my friend. If he'd wanted to conquer the Fade, I would have led the charge. There are men who inspire such devotion that everyone around would lay down their lives for him. And there are men who would come and go from this world, and no one notes it. What makes them so? Your guess is as good as mine. Merrick was remarkable. That's all I can say of him. I was hunting, well, poaching, to be entirely honest, when a boy my own age came stumbling out of the woods. He was so dirty, you'd have thought he'd been dug up out of the ground. The traitorous bootlickers who just murdered the Queen, though I didn't know it at the time. He was bloody, exhausted, and obviously being hunted. I offered to take him to my father's camp. That's a story for another time, I'm afraid. I've gone on too long as it is. He nearly did. Merrick was never one to avoid his duty, and given his preference, he would have acknowledged his son no matter the circumstance. But he had more than his honor to think of. It would have ruined Rowan, after all. She'd be reduced to a concubine in the eyes of our neighbors, and put Kaelin's status as heir in question. So Merrick made the hard choice. Eamon offered to raise the boy, and that was that. Kings don't get the luxury of escaping politics. But we've been idle long enough. We should get moving. Of course.
Did you want something? Of course.
Okay. Now, do I have... I think that's what Eamon's look like. He likes
I'm surprised. Thank you.
is. I know I've got another.
Did you want something? Of course.
Alright. Oh boy. Right.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
As you desire.
Oh, right, I forgot about that. I'm not getting rid of any of these. I don't have better support. I have better help for him either. Don't use this stuff. That. That's it? I thought there was more. Guess I'm still sold. Maybe that's not a store. There's all the some storage. Not using it. I'm doing this.
What can I do for you, Warden? Certainly.
Found it.
Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? A pair of earrings,
We had a
perhaps?
specialized
A cheese
conversation
knife?
that you guys missed.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
But... Is this what I need? Yes. I thought there was something else. Right, he'd hate that and love that. I guess that is it. I'm not buying that back. I could. I don't. It wouldn't be a gift, so it wouldn't matter. Okay. There isn't anything else in there. Just the... I wonder if it's a better shield, though. He's at the back of the list. Start with the...
This is interesting, I suppose. I'm surprised. Thank you.
Okay. Now, is it any good? It is high morale. And far better shield. Alright, yeah. He actually starts with good armor. He was equipping a regular, plain old longsword, like, beginning of the game longsword. It was funny, but sad. Alright. What could I
You
think?
have excellent taste.
I know. I don't know that that mattered any. And I found another one.
Oh, how dear of you.
Okay. One last check to see how people feel about me. Or maybe I should buy stuff to top all their dispositions off. Bribe them into liking me.
Your desire? So, full of questions, are you?
Never mind. Double check my enchantments.
Enchantment? Enchantment!
Expert lightning. Oh right, I wanted to swap you out for that blade. There.
Such a force has not been seen since the collapse of the Tevinter Imperium.
I haven't given her a second specialty. You don't need it. Lynn does. Zeph does. Margaret does. You don't? You do. Morgan doesn't. And the puppy doesn't. Everyone else will. Need at least one. You're gonna need a lot of arming. Might as well.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Of course, I'm not going to talk to Liliana or Zev again after they like me more than they already do. I don't want to deal with the awkward. Let's see. Generic gifts that are good. Doesn't actually matter which ones I get. See how that goes. Let's just go through in order.
Most kind.
Oh, right, there was actual potential talking from you.
Besides the Morgan.
Thank you so much. Yes, You led me to an errand.
I should
You
have talked to her
persisted,
first.
even though I was sure all you were going to find was a dead end. I will never be able to repay you for what you've done for me. Finding an errand allowed me to bring that chapter of my life to a close. I feel free. A great weight has been lifted off my heart. This moment, it feels like the moment before the sunrise, when all the world is still, holding its breath, waiting for first light. I can stop thinking about my past and look forward to the future. Thank you, my friend. You will always have my gratitude.
No problem.
What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of my ability. So many are gone. They will need new enchanters. Perhaps they will look to Orlais or Antiva. It will be difficult for a while, but I have no doubt that the circle will recover.
Okay.
Most kind. Most kind.
There.
What's on your mind? It is no trouble.
Okay. Really isn't anything else to discuss with you, but I want to be sure of that. Warning doesn't need to like me more. Let's start with you.
It'll do, sure. It'll do, sure.
There you are.
That's not
I
a great
was thinking,
view.
we've
Nice.
been through a lot together now. We're like old war buddies. So I figured why not invite you to share a drink, huh? A drink from my own stash, my family's recipe, and dedicated to my comrades in arms. Yes! The warden steps up!
Am I going to fall over? Yep. Okay.
How do you feel? That's the spirit! I just wanted to tell you, after all we've been through, you're like family to me. Closest thing I've had in years. Aye, a toast with a dry cup. You're not getting any more of my brew. So, do you want to talk about something? What about? Aye, I do. A bit. A little bit. When I was there, I thought it was a muckhole full of backstabbing, tin-plated would-be tyrants.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
But
much
it's
accurate.
also home. Flies live in piles of dung, but I bet they'd miss it when they're gone. Still, I can't go back even if I wanted to. I'd rather be dead than be castless in Orzammar.
There is that.
I guess I'd rather be a useless lump of a dwarf out here than a useless lump of a dwarf back there. Nice of you, Warden, but I know what side of the house the Lou is on. Hey, let's go find something to kill, huh? All this talk makes my hands twitchy.
I never butted him up that far, but damn, okay. One less thoughtful gift that I have to give you. Anything else?
What do you want?
Oh,
I don't know. I guess we're pretty good friends now, right? I just keep thinking about all that slag with Bronca. How I've turned out. I always said I was this way because she left, but I think maybe she left because of how I am.
that's not necessarily true.
No,
That
she
maybe.
just estimated me. She knew how I was, and because of that, she left without me. Worked out in my favor, though. I'm here fighting the good fight, not fed to Carradine's traps, or her pet darkspawn.
There is
Did
that.
you want to talk about something? What about? Alright. Alright then.
Okay. I never bothered to butter him all the way up before. Now I know what happens. How about that? Who's next? That isn't controversial. Instead, I should have bought a cake for you. You like
You
these.
have my thanks.
That wasn't quite enough. Stitchy.
You have my thanks.
There we go.
I have been mistaken. Enjoy this while it lasts. It won't happen again. You are a soldier worthy to stand among the Beresad.
This
I
conversation
did not
I've had
think
before, I
so
didn't
when we
need to
first
butter
met.
him up for this to happen.
You did, of course. The day will come when the Arishok sends us here. On that day, I will not look to find you on the battlefield.
There is no point in dwelling on it. We should move on.
Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. As you wish.
Shit.
I'm to keep this, am I? Fine.
Hey, there we go.
It has occurred to me that I have been... Excuse me.
I
This
didn't
is
need to butter
not
her up for
easy.
this either.
It occurs to me that I have been less than charitable with it since it reanimated me. I have come to realize that it has been good to me. You have been good to me.
I get a pronoun.
Even though you had no control rod to enforce obedience. I have never had one before, so I don't know how to thank you for being, you know. That too. I followed you expecting to find answers to my questions, but I think I have found something better. Oh, let us not speak of this awkward bonding moment ever again. To the road.
Sounds like a plan.
I am listening. It doesn't have better things to do. On then.
It does have better things to do.
What say you? By all means.
Okay, good. No tracks waiting there.
She's a lucky girl, Morrigan.
She is.
She caught your eye. Though looking at her, it is not difficult to see why. Well, I want you to know I am happy for you.
Thanks. I think that's as close to...
You've seen and touched Andraste's ashes.
Oh dear.
They are the holiest thing on this earth, the remains of the Maker's chosen. I do not know if I am worthy to look upon her. Yes, of course, but it still is something to be in awe of.
Oh! Okay. Really? Yeah. Okay. I don't need to deal with anything. Any bribing then.
I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you? Of course.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yes, a little better.
I've been avoiding you
Time
for a
heals all
while.
wounds, so they say. Scars remain, but they are just colors in the painting that is my life, no? I wish things had happened differently, but knowing her and knowing me, I don't think it could have. We had good times though, and I look back on those fondly. Whatever happened after will never change the truth of the past. Yes, once, a long time ago, she was a worldly woman and there was so much she knew and was willing to share with me. I would have done anything for her once. She used to be different. Happier, I think. She loved music and had a weakness for sugary cakes. Maybe she was always lying about who she was. Or maybe she changed over the years. That's what they say. And the rest of us just have to move on. And I think I have. You are how she used to be years ago. A joy to be around, a constant companion and a listening ear in times of need. Yes, I know that. I don't think you would ever do what she did to me. I have never regretted leaving Orlais. I do not regret any of the pain, the anger, the loneliness, because it brought me to you. And I love you.
Damn
It's
it.
so wonderful to say that to someone again. But people are starting to look at me strangely. We will speak of this again, I promise.
Damn it. Couldn't leave well enough alone. Never
I
can.
enjoy the nights at camp. The night always seems more peaceful to me. Safer. I feel the night grants us a reprieve from the troubles of the day. Silly, isn't it? The darkspawn never sleep, and they lurk in the shadows. I enjoy those nights when we stand guard together, talking to pass the time in those small hours. Well, I talk and you listen mostly. Sometimes I succumb and fall asleep and wake to find you still watchful. And I know you're watching out for me. What I'm trying to say is that I trust you. I'm comfortable around you. I know you'll be there when I need you. You are our leader and my friend, and sometimes I think that maybe we could be more than that. Maker, look at me stumbling over my words like an ill-educated peasant girl. Some bard I am. There isn't much more I can say. My feelings have been laid bare. You are very special to me. Friends? Right, friends. I see. Well, I mean, I can't imagine why we wouldn't stay friends. Yes, I understand.
This never goes well.
Completely. It's you and not me. I should go.
Oh. That part of the conversation goes alright. It's the follow-up that's
The stars are out.
bad.
It comforts me to know that the stars will remain untouched by the blight. That whatever happens down here, they will shine eternally. Their light undimmed.
That is
There
one
is
of
a
the
story
things
about that cluster of stars over there. Do you know it? Elindra and
frustrates
her
me
soldier?
about the
A long time ago, there lived a fair
improving of
maiden
the
called Elindra.
disposition of
She had
someone
many
who
suitors,
can
but
have
spurned
a
them all for she did not love them.
relationship
One
with
day,
you.
Elindra was sitting by her window in her father's castle, singing and dreaming, when her lovely voice caught the attention of a young soldier. Entranced by her song, the soldier drew near to Elindra's window. As their eyes met, he fell in love with her, and she with him. When Elindra told her father about the man she had chosen, he was furious, for Elindra was high-born, but her love nothing more than a common soldier. To keep them apart, he had Elindra imprisoned in the highest tower of his castle, and sent her soldier to the wars. Alas, not a month had passed before news of the soldier's death reached Elindra. Alone in her tower, Elindra wept for her love, and beseeched the gods to deliver her from this cruel world. So earnest was her plea that the gods themselves were moved. They gathered Elindra into their arms and lifted her high into the heavens, where she became a star. The gods also raised up the soul of Elindra's soldier love, and there he dwells, across the horizon from her. The band of stars between them is a river of Elindra's tears, cried for her lost love. They say that when Elindra has cried enough, she will be able to cross the river to be reunited with her soldier. It doesn't end so badly. It ends hopefully. Elindra will one day be with her love again. We don't know when, but she will. This story is one of my favorites. A tale of a love so great and so enduring that it defies death and moves the gods to action. Sometimes I ask myself, does such a love exist?
Not with
Can
me.
it exist? If not circumstance, then death will always separate the lovers, no? But maybe this is what gives it value. If it is easily gained, if it lasts forever, what reason do we have to cherish it? It would be worthless.
Right. Like I was saying, the problem with, even if you're very careful about choosing non-romantic conversation options, if you get, especially Liliana, above a certain point, you always get the romantic twist to the relationship, and it bugs the hell out of me. You can't just be friends without going through all the bullshit and rejecting her and having her lose disposition, and then if you get her back up there again, you either have to never talk to her again, or because you can trigger it again. It's a pain in the ass.
I see you're still with Morrigan. I thought you said she didn't mean anything to you.
I didn't say
what are
that.
you playing at? You tell me you like me,
This
and I
is
mean
the
something to
conversation
you,
that I mean.
and you have her on the side? It's not fair to either Morrigan or me.
I have
Do
never
you say
made
the
any
same
romantic
things to her that you
advances
say to me?
toward her.
Just show me some respect. Show
There is
us
no
some
us.
respect, please.
This is my problem with it.
Stop playing with my feelings.
I have never
If
played
you
with
want
her feelings,
Tell me so.
but this
I care
bullshit
for you
happens
more deeply than I can
because
say.
they program it in,
I-
even though you
I
tell
can't watch
her
you going to her all
friends
the time.
only, and you never pick anything romantic. They still have this shit happen.
I see. That's your choice then.
That's a
I
flaw in the
understand.
programming, so far as I'm concerned.
Excuse me. I have to be alone for a while.
She can disapprove of that.
I know that look.
All she
you have
wants.
something on your mind, don't you? Of course. I have not given this a lot of thought. What will I do? We've traveled far and wide. Does it need to end? There's so much out there. Adventures to be had and stories to be told. I want to be part of it all. I might need some company. And you're not too irritating.
Gee,
You're
thanks.
welcome to come along if you like. Good idea. Before one plans for the future, one should be sure one has one, yes? I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you? Of course.
There was no it to end.
There are many rumors about spies, or legion or otherwise. What are you referring to exactly? I admit I have done many despicable things in my lifetime. I do what I have to do. So do you. So does everybody. Sometimes we must do terrible things to get what we want. If it is any consolation, I always try to use non-violent means to achieve my ends. Some bards rely on torture to get what they want. It works effectively, as many will bend under the threat of bodily harm. But there are better ways, more subtle and kind. You will be surprised how easily a person will open up to you, even if all you offer is a listening ear. People respond eagerly to others who they believe understand them. They seek approval, friendship, sometimes love. This can be
Sounds like
exploited.
she's describing herself a bit.
It is a game, one that can be won with little bloodshed if one plays well. Isn't it? Everyone can be seduced by the right woman. The trick is predicting who she is and becoming her. Master the game, and no one can resist you.
I see.
That is what they all say. I suppose we will never know, will we? I'm certainly not going to test you.
Right.
Of course, I was just speaking hypothetically. But come, it is getting late, and there is much to be done.
I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you? Of course.
Okay, now I've actually covered everything in there. And yep. Bloody hell.
Why, thank you so much.
And I'm not talking to you again. I'm done with you. Oh, right. Did double check that there wasn't anything else left to say to Zev. I'm gonna have to
How nice.
Bloody hell.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Right. I don't think Zev will raise a fuss.
What say you? By all means.
That's not it.
How nice.
I did not thank you.
Oh.
It occurs to me now that you have freed me from the crows, and yet I did not think to thank you for it. No matter why you did it, it was done, and I the benefactor. So, thank you. You say that so quickly, and yet it is an odd thing for me to hear. In the crows, we do not have friends, and yet here you are, and I cannot help but consider you such. Then allow me to say this. What we are doing here, stopping the Blight, I cannot think of anything I have ever done which is so worthy. I intend to see this through to the end with you. After all, someone must take responsibility for preventing your untimely death. A suitable task for a friend, yes? Oh, I'm not going to die. It's always the Grey Wardens that die. Did you not read the stories as a child? The hero always dies.
I have plans to
Unless the hero has
circumvent
a
that.
trusty sidekick with him, then the sidekick dies instead. I knew there was a catch. This friendship business is for the birds, I see. Your wish? Whatever you'd like to ask. Yes, I suppose it is time. You have been a good friend to me after all. There is no reason to be silent. There is a reason I accepted this mission in Ferelden, far away from home, and it had nothing to do with any thought that I might leave the Crows. Meeting you, after all, was quite an accident. My last mission before this one did not end well. You must realize that until that day I was cocky and arrogant. I was the best crow in Antiva, I believed, and I bragged of my conquests
How has
often,
this changed?
both as an assassin and lover. Indeed, I was often told I was insufferable, right before I ended up in bed with someone. Such is how it was. One of the crow masters grew tired of my boasting. My bid for an incredibly difficult mark was accepted, much to my surprise. A wealthy merchant with many guards and completely silent. Taliesin agreed to be part of my team, as well as an elven lass named Rina. She was a marvel. Tough, smooth, wicked. Eyes that gleamed like justice. Everything I thought I desired. Rina was special. I had closed off my heart, I thought, but she touched something within me. It frightened me. When Taliesin revealed to me that Rina had accepted a bribe from the merchant, told him of our plan, I readily agreed that she needed to pay the price and allowed Taliesin to kill her. Rina begged me not to. On her knees, with tears in her eyes, she told me that she loved me and had not betrayed us. I laughed in her face and said that even if it were true, I didn't care. I convinced myself it was. Taliesin cut her throat, and I watched her bleed as she stared up at me. I spat on her for betraying the crows. When Taliesin and I finally assassinated the merchant, we found the true source of his information. Rina had not betrayed us, after all. Of course not. I didn't care to know. I wanted to tell the crows what we had done, our mistake. Taliesin convinced me not to. He said it would be a foolish waste. So we reported that Rina had died in the attempt. We needn't have bothered. The crows knew what we had done. The master who disliked me told me so to my face. He said the crows knew, and they didn't care. And one day, my turn would come. To rub it in my face, perhaps. That I was nothing. That she was nothing. You once asked why I wanted to leave the crows. In truth, what I wanted was to die. What better way than to throw myself at one of the fabled Grey Wardens? And then, this happened. And here I am. No. What I want is to begin again. Whatever it is I sought by leaving Antiva, I think I have found it. I owe you a great deal. Let us return to your mission, shall we? Suddenly, I do not feel like standing about.
I'm surprised he didn't spin that.
Your wish. Whatever you'd like to ask.
But he's not quite done, is he? Not quite. One more. On you.
How nice.
There.
Your wish. Whatever you'd like to ask.
Nothing else. Everybody likes me now, yeah? Except for Logan. Now there's been a lot of talky bits, but
Thanks.
there are actual advantages.
I suppose I shouldn't be surprised at your success. You beat me. Perhaps you can do this after all. It hardly matters now. I've certainly been mistaken about you before. Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment. Nora is a good queen. She has been for 5 years now. I am a bit, but she'll do well. I have to say that anyway, for if word gets back to her that I said otherwise, she'll be furious. In all seriousness, Nora is formidable. You should know that by now. They always have before. Few among the nobles have ever been under any illusions as to who really held power in Denerim. And Nora is strong enough to endure. She may make a few mistakes along the way, but she'll survive them. But this isn't the time to discuss such things. Of course.
Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment. Of course.
Alright.
Thanks. Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment. Of course.
I think they're only gonna happen at particular increments now.
Thanks. Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment.
Nothing else.
Of course. Thanks. Thanks. Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment. Of course. Thanks. Thanks.
Never actually set bribed people like this, but
Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment. Of course.
I'm also usually much more uptight about the conversations I do have with them, so they're closer to maxed out anyway. I don't think there's anything left to be said. You shouldn't have anything new to say. Except for reacting to her having gotten as high as she did. And I don't need to have that conversation. So... after all of that melodrama, I think we're finally done here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Is there anything else left to do? I don't think there is. But
I'm ready.
just in case.
You fare well?
And we'll move on next time.